Friends, welcome back. Today's video is about program design. It might be confusing sometimes to navigate through all the information online and pick a program that works best for you. What I'll try to do in this video is to simplify program design as much as possible and equip you with the right tools to choose what works best for you or to create a scheme that works best for you. So the video will be in two phases. Phase number one is about the pillars that each person or each program needs to have. And phase number two is about a killer approach that I've been using myself and using with some of my clients, and I am ready to defend because I think it's really important and it works pretty well. So let's dig in. Not everyone trains to be a bodybuilder or a power lifter or a professional athlete, but almost exclusively everyone trains to become healthier, stronger, and have a better quality of life. What I want to do now is give you 5 points, 5 pillars that you should apply when picking or when creating a program. All right, point number one, goals and objectives. You should figure out what are your goals in training. What do you want to achieve? Is it getting stronger, losing fat, getting better at a sport, etc.? Figure out what are your goals and objectives and move on. This is point number one. Point number two is individual needs and assessments. So you should figure out first, what is your current fitness level? So can you walk for a kilometer on an incline? Can you run for 100 meters? Can you do a push-up? Can you do a pull-up? Do you have any movement limitations? Can you raise your arm over your head, etc.? These are things that you need to know before you start building your program. This is individual needs and assessments, point number two. Moving now to point number three, which is progressive overload, a term that we frequently hear in the fitness industry. And progressive overload means that you need to constantly figure out how you're moving forward in your training. So you don't hit plateaus or dead ends in your training. You should sometimes play in the intensity, volume, load in general, rest less, time under tension. So there's many things that you can tweak to be able to have this progressive overload as part of your training. So this is point number three. Now moving on to point number four, which is balanced training components. And this is one of my favorite points because to be a all-around fit person, you need to be strong, to have some endurance, to have some flexibility, mobility, agility. To be able to have all these components, you need to include them in your training. Now, some people argue that you cannot have all these components in your program at the same time. I beg to differ. I think you can have all these components unless you're a specific kind of athlete that focuses on strength or endurance, then it's a different subject. But if you fall under the category of general population, you should account for all these components. Now moving to the fifth and last point, which is recovery and flexibility. Meaning in your training, you should account for some recovery days or off days, light days, wavering in the intensity. This is the recovery. And for flexibility, you should always have a flexible approach to training, not a stiff one. If you're a general population, of course, you don't want to get a burnout physically or mentally. So after this lengthy explanation, part one of this video, which goes through the 5 points that I think everyone should account for when building or choosing a program, it is time now to move to part two of this video, which will be about the approach that I am championing here, that I want to emphasize on. And this approach will go, first you have to warm up, of course. Any person who enters the gym, you have to warm up, do your general warm up, break a sweat, and then move to some mobility. The mobility drill I will not go into here, but keep that in the back of your mind because it is important for a different time. Now, the approach goes as follows. Phase one is the strength phase. you will start the first phase, the first exercise, let's say a squat, with a strength approach to this exercise. You will be doing a low number of repetitions, for example, between 3 and 6, and you will be resting longer. So between 1 to 5 minutes even, you can rest that long, 2 to 5 minutes, let's say. So this is the strength approach. If you're squatting, you want to squat heavy, you want to build strength, you want to do that in the beginning because your fibers, the fast twitch fibers, are not tired yet. They are very sensitive to fatigue. So you don't want to do your heavy squats as your third exercise, for example. You want to do the squat in the beginning while your muscles are fresh, your fast twitch muscle fibers are still not tired. You want to make that in the beginning. Now moving from phase 1, which is the strength phase, to phase 2, which is the hypertrophy phase. And now the more you go into your program, the more you have to start increasing the number of repetitions and decreasing the weight. Your muscles are getting fatigued. Your joints are getting fatigued also. So you need to lower the weight and focus on building the muscles here, growing hypertrophy. So this transition from high weight, low reps to high reps and let's say moderate weight. So the weight is still heavy. This is your second or third exercise, so you can still lift heavy. Now this is to promote muscle growth. Moving to phase number 3, which is endurance. And by endurance, we mean muscle endurance here. You want your muscles to have stamina. You want your muscles to endure time under tension. So you have to move to phase 3, where you start the number of repetitions is 15 plus. So naturally the weight will be much less here. Remember, you start with a heavy weight and then you decrease it a little bit, and then you're even decreasing it more now. You're getting tired, so you have to prevent any injury from happening. So these are the first 3 phases: strength, hypertrophy, muscle endurance. Now with muscle endurance, you can do something, it's called sometimes conditioning. This word or term conditioning can be confusing sometimes, but it just means that you are preparing, conditioning, making your muscles adapted to training, to movement. So for example, you can jump, move from side to side. This is conditioning. Be able to move in different planes. This is conditioning. It doesn't mean a very specific thing, but it means that your ability to your muscles to adapt and your body to adapt to training. Now, as a finisher, the finisher is always a metabolic conditioning, or Metcon. Yes, like the shoes from Nike, Metcon. It is metabolic conditioning. And this metabolic conditioning can be done in form of high intensity interval training. I know this term has been used, overused, but it still means some things. So it can be high intensity interval training. It can be done on an assault bike with let's say 1 to 2 ratio, 1 work 2 rest ratio, meaning if you're training for a minute on the air bike, you go 20 seconds very hard, 40 seconds slow. So this is 1-to ratio, 1 work 2 rest. So this is the build up, or this is the training how it's supposed to be, the approach that I'm emphasizing here. Some people argue that you cannot, or you better not go through all these phases in one training day, actually not even training program. I think it's very important if you're someone who wants to increase their fitness level, if you're someone who falls under the category of general population and not a specific kind of athletes, you can try this program, try this approach and see if it works for you or not. So this is the approach that I'm championing here, and I think it is worth a try. Let me give you a very solid example, a video of an approach to this training that you're going to see in front of you. I'm starting with heavy deadlifts. So this is my first exercise of 3 repetitions 4 sets of 3 repetitions. And after the first exercise, which is the heavy, the strength focused exercise, I'm moving to a lighter exercise, which is the stiff leg deadlift, or RDLs, where the weight is still relatively heavy, but the number of repetitions is climbing up. So now I'm doing 8 repetitions and 4 rounds with this lighter, relatively lighter weight. Now after the stiff legged deadlift, I move to some hamstring curls, single leg hamstring curls, and this exercise is an isolation exercise. I can the risk of injury is less. I can focus on squeezing my muscles. I can focus on building some stamina in my muscles. So I am going for 15 repetitions each side. After this exercise, I chose to do a couple of accessories where I do a single leg variation of bridge. It's mostly hamstring focused. I do it slowly, and sometimes you can do, like I'm doing here, some hyper extension, some back extension. Also a less intense, a bodyweight exercise where you can go high repetitions without really having to carry a lot of heavy weights. So this is an example of this approach. First, heavy deadlifts. Second, RDLs that are still heavy but relatively lighter and higher number of repetitions. Then I moved to some hamstring curls, isolation, less risk of injury, higher repetitions, 15 plus. And after that, I did some accessory work, some bodyweight work with single leg variation of a single leg bridge and some hyper extension. You can choose one of these two, not necessarily both. So here you go. This is a good example, solid example that you can use for yourself, and you can apply for different muscle groups as well, not necessarily this posterior chain that I was using in these videos. What I like the most about this approach is that it accounts for a balanced development. So you're using a multiple aspect of fitness within a single session, and also variety. So you're doing a wide range of wide rep range. So repetitions are low, weight is high, and repetitions are high, weight is low around the end. So the more your body gets tired, you change the way you're training. Let us not leave this video without mentioning some of the criticism against this approach to training. First criticism is that its complexity for beginners, it is high, so it's complex for beginners. I agree. If you're someone who's learning movement, then you're maybe slow down and take things in a more simple way, spend more time on your basic movement patterns. Potential for overtraining, yes. If you're someone who's not sleeping well, working 60 hours per week, probably this approach will be too much for you. Time commitment, indeed, time commitment. This approach might take longer because you're trying to lift heavy, which naturally takes much more time. So you'll be resting more while squatting, for example, and then doing more sets. This will take, I don't know, let's say approximately 30 minutes. And then you have to move through your session. So it might be, if you have limited time, 45 minutes, for example, this is a bit too long for you. Insufficient focus on specific goals, that's correct. If you're trying to get better in jumping, then you're probably better off getting a more simple program where you focus on a specific goal, on your specific goals. However, if your specific goals are to get healthier and fitter, this program is for you. In a nutshell, program design shouldn't feel so overwhelming and complicated. It can be very complicated, but it shouldn't feel that complicated to everyone. Now, in my attempt to simplify program design, I spoke in the first part of this video about the 5 points that everyone should consider when building a program: goals and objectives, individual needs and assessments, progressive overload, balanced training components, recovery and flexibility. Those are the 5 points. And in the second part of this video, I spoke about one approach that I really like and I'm using with myself and my clients, some of my clients, and we're finding a lot of results out of it. So it is worth a shot to try it. Tell me what you think about it, and I hope you like this video. See you next time.